Hello, how are you? Welcome to stream. Welcome to the last Hamlet stream. I'm so excited. This will be good. Okay. What an exciting day. We're finally finishing Hamlet. I thought it would never happen, honestly. It feels like we've been doing this for so long that it's just like, oh, hey Lorenzo, how are you? It feels like we've been doing this for so long that it's finally here and I'm so ready to finish it because it feels as though we were never going to finish it, to be honest. So, if you were not here yesterday, here's what happened. So we were at Ophelia's funeral yesterday. I'm trying to summarize this very quickly because I don't want to waste too much time because I know it's going to take a little bit to go through this act or this scene. It's the last scene. So we're in a graveyard. There's a clown. He's like digging up a grave. Okay, awesome. Great. And then Hamlet kind of walks in. He's like, "Yo, what you doing? Who are you? You've got some skulls in your hand. What are you doing, bro? Like, that's a person's body." And he's like, "It's whatever, they're dead. Boo, you know? But I'm digging a grave." And then Hamlet's like, "I'm gonna go hide in the corner and go see whose grave it's gonna be." And the royals come in, and Laertes, the son of Polonius, they all come in and are carrying Ophelia's body and bury it. And Hamlet's just like, "Holy shit, it's Ophelia. Oh my god. That's not cool." And Hamlet and Laertes are just like, "Oh no." Well, Laertes is just like, "Oh, we've gathered here today to celebrate my sister, blah blah." And then Laertes like literally jumps into the hole that she's gonna get buried in. He's like, "Bury me with her, I'm so heartbroken." And he's doing this kind of in a way it's really fake and rehearsed. It's not real. And then Hamlet comes in and he's like, "If you actually loved her, you would actually get buried with her. Bury me with her instead." And then they start fighting each other because Laertes is like, "You killed my father." And he's like, "Yeah, true, valid, but like, I don't want to fight you right now. We're at a funeral." But Hamlet admits that he did actually love her. So it makes me wonder if he did all of those things that Ophelia was saying. And I feel so bad for not believing Ophelia because he denied it when they were talking in confidence. And I was like, "Oh man, I believe you, Hamlet." But now I know I shouldn't have believed him, which makes me so upset. And I knew they had like a flirtationship, but I didn't know that he actually really liked her. And then after this, essentially Hamlet's like, we'll go over this later, Laertes. We're gonna duke this out later. And Laertes is like, "Okay, well, you better be ready." And the king is like, "Okay, we need to." So the king and Laertes came up with a plan, and they got a letter from Hamlet in the last act that was basically just like, "I'm coming, bro, and you better be prepared for me to come, because I'm gonna come and I'm gonna be in your presence and you better accept me for who I am." And the king and Laertes kind of came up with this plot to make sure that Hamlet would be dead by the time that he was done visiting Denmark. Well, he would have to be done because he would be dead. So the king is just like, "Look, Laertes, we gotta make sure this man is dead by the time we have this second meeting that he's planning on having." I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I'm so sorry. Yes, welcome, Light. How are you? I'm yawning a little bit right now. I had pizza yesterday and today. The thing I like to do is I like to just order a large pizza. And then I'll make myself eat it over 2 days because otherwise I will show no self-control and I will just eat it all in one day. Which is fine. It's valid, and you know what? It helps, and it makes me feel better, but at the same time... Sorry, I got distracted. I was looking at things. Okay, but yes. So that's what happened. And now, We are at scene 2. We are in a hall in the castle. And I think this is the last scene. So, strap in, my friends. Let's do it. Okay. So Hamlet and Horatio enter. And Hamlet says, "So much for this, sir. Now shall you see the other? Do you remember all the circumstance?" And Horatio's like, "Remember it, my lord." And Hamlet says, "Sir, in my heart there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. Methought I lay worse than the minutes in the bilboes." Bilboes? What are bilboes? Oh, mutineers in shackles. Okay. "Rashly, and praised be rashness for it, let us know our indiscretion sometime serves us well. When our deep plots do pall, and that shall learn us there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will." And Horatio says, "Most certain." Okay, so Hamlet's just like, "Do you remember what happened? Do you remember what happened when I left? Do you remember the bad circumstances? Of like, do you remember how people felt about me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I remember, and now I remember even better, because guess what? Everybody hates you. Still." And Hamlet says, "Up from my cabin, my sea gown scarfed about me in the dark. I groped to find out them. Had my desire, fingered their packet, and fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold my fears, forgetting manners, to unseal their grand commission, where I found Horatio, O royal knavery, an exact command, larded with many several sorts of reasons, importing Denmark's health, and England's too, with such bugs and goblins in my life, that on the supervise no leisure bade it. No, not to stay the grinding of the axe, my head should be struck off." I think he's talking about when he was abroad. So he was exiled to England, right? Also, we found out that he is 30 just now, just so you know. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm not actually tired. So, you missed the recap, Punk, but it's okay. Hamlet went back to Denmark, okay? That's what happened, Punk. Hamlet went back to Denmark. Ophelia got buried, kind of. Laertes tried to choke Hamlet. The end. That's what happened, okay? And now they're in the castle. And Hamlet is talking to Horatio. Okay, yeah, you're welcome, Punk. Got you. And Horatio says, "Is it possible?" Hamlet says, "Here's the commission. Read it at more leisure. But wilt thou hear now how I did proceed?" And Horatio says, "I beseech you." Okay, so I think Hamlet is kind of going over what sparked his interest in coming back, or made him come back. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Sorry. Hamlet. "Being thus benetted round with villainies, or I can make a prologue to my brains, they had begun the play. I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair. I once did hold it as our statists do. A baseness to write fair, and laboured much, how to forget that learning. But, sir, now it did me yeoman's service. Wilt thou know the effect of what I wrote?" And Horatio says, "Aye, my lord." Okay, so Hamlet's talking about when he was, like, right before he was kicked out. So Hamlet's just like, "Here, I wrote this thing. I was completely wrong. I'm so sorry." It took me a minute to figure out what the hell he was talking about. Because honestly, sometimes I'm reading it and I go, "What?" But no, I get it now. Okay. So he's talking about whenever the players came to the castle, and he wrote a commission, okay? So this play was already written, but he gave the players an extra piece of, he gave them like an extra couple of lines to read, because then that way he could edit it in sort of a way for the king to recognize that this was a jab at him. Okay? So they're talking about these few lines that he gave. Okay. And Hamlet says, an earnest conjuration from the king is England as his faithful tributary, as love between them like the palm might flourish, as peace should still her wheaten garland wear, and stand a comma between their amities. And such like aces, ases, ases, I don't know, it's apostrophe A-S, apostrophe E-S. Hello to Jokos. Wow, the whole gang is here. What an exciting day. Ah, I'm so excited. Okay. Asses of great charge. Oh, it's supposed to be pronounced asses because it has it in the thing. It says, there is a pun on asses in the load they carry. Ha ha ha. Nice. Okay. Because he's saying there are many asses that are in charge of nations. That on the view and knowing of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, he should the bearers put to sudden death, not shriving time allow it. And Horatio says, how was this sealed? And Hamlet says, why, even in that was heaven ordinant. I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of that Danish seal, folded the writ up in the form of the other, subscribed it, gave it the impression, placed it safely, the changeling never known. Now the next day was our sea fight, and what to this was sequent, thou knowest already. And Horatio says, so Guildenstern and Rosencrantz go to it. And Hamlet says, why, man, they make love to this employment, they are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the past and fell incensed points of mighty opposite. Okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit lost. Because they're talking a lot about I have no idea. Actually, here, hold on. I'm gonna cheat. I'm sorry. Hamlet, Act 5, Scene 2. I'm gonna cheat because I'm really, really confused right now about what's happening at the moment. And I need some guidance because otherwise I am going to be confused even more. Okay. So what are they? I don't know. Okay, there's a thing here. Two queens should flourish like a palm tree, as peace should forever link their affections. Many much more as clauses. The King of England should, upon reading these contents without any discussion, put the bearers of this letter to death, not even allowing them time to repent. Ah! Okay. So, sorry. Okay, so Hamlet wrote a letter. Hamlet Act 5. What is happening? Yeah, that's pretty much... I know. I was trying to come up with my own interpretation of how this works, but we'll see. Okay, so essentially... Okay, I was wrong once again. Nothing is new here. Okay, so this commission that he wrote is a letter to the king, okay? I think Hamlet is essentially just trying to make amends, but at the same time he's trying to say that he could never stand behind his uncle Claudius as king. He's like, I stand with the country of Denmark, but I don't stand with you. And Hamlet's kind of like, I know that this letter puts me in a bad light, but at the same time, it's how I feel, and I want them to know that's how I feel. So I'll never, he says, I'll never pledge allegiance to the King of Denmark. However, I will pledge allegiance to Denmark. Which, I mean, I think at the same time, right? So if Hamlet comes back, isn't he the heir to the throne? You know what I mean? Because his father was the king. So I don't understand how Hamlet's uncle is the king of Denmark. Hello, Heavy Milk. Welcome to chat. We are playing not Model UN. We are reading Hamlet. Just so you know, I'm trying to, yes. Okay. Anyway, thank you to Joe Cox. So, okay. Anyway. Why, man? Okay, so Hamlet says, why, man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis danger when the baser nature comes between the pass and fell incensed points of mighty opposites. Horatio says, why, what a king is this? Ah, Merchant of Venice. Yes, very good. Very good one. I read that. That was the first play I read on the stream. So, that was a good time. And Hamlet says, does it not think thee send me now upon? He that hath killed my king and whored my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out his angle for my proper life, and with such cozenage, deceit, is it not perfect conscience to quit him with his arm? And is it not to be damned, to let this canker of our nature come in further evil? So Hamlet's just like, look, does it not make sense that, I know, Lorenzo, that's exactly what I was thinking, and that's exactly why I started laughing, is because anytime Merchant of Venice comes up, I just think, my bond. I just think of Shylock. I only think of the fact that Shylock, all the time, he's just like, my bond, are you gonna pay me my bond? It's the only thing I think about. Okay. So, Hamlet's just like, okay, Horatio, but hear me out though, right? So, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern don't necessarily stand with me, and you know what? I honestly don't care. At the same time, I cannot subscribe to this man's values and beliefs because he killed my father. He married my mother, who is, his brother's widow, and he exiled me. Like, how am I supposed to stand behind a man who did 3 things to my family that are like the worst tragedies to ever have happened to me, right? And so Horatio says it must be shortly known to him from England what is the issue of the business here. And Hamlet says, it will be short. The interim is mine, and a man's life no more than to say one. But I am very sorry, good Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself. For by the image of my cause I see the portraiture of his. I'll court his favours, but sure the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion. And Horatio says, peace, who comes here? So Hamlet's like, look, my visit is going to be short, but at the same time, I'm going to let Laertes carry out his duty in his, what is it called? He says, I'll court his favors. So I don't know if he's going to let him get revenge on him by killing him, or if he's just going to try to get into good favor with Laertes. Because at the same time, because you've got someone who's trying to kill you, but also I would say he understands Laertes because he's literally already had a man kill his father, right? And so he understands that passion and that grief that Laertes is going through. Okay, so we have a new character named Osric, and I don't know what Osric is. So let's go back to I didn't know we were going to be going back to the character list this late in the game. Okay, he's also a courtier. He's like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and Cornelius, and Voltimand. Okay, he's just like a dude who's cool with the king, alright? That's what he is. He's kind of like Polonius, except Polonius is Lord Chamberlain, so I feel like Lord Chamberlain is higher, and then there's the courtier, right? Who just are like, oh, king, we love you too. We'll do you some favors. But Polonius is like, my king, I'll do you favors, but also you listen to me too, okay? I think that's the difference. But I'm not 100% sure. Here, let's see. Lord Chamberlain versus courtier. Let's see. Lord Chamberlain is of the household and the most senior officer of the royal household. Okay, that makes sense. You didn't verse it against courtier, but that's fine. And a courtier is a person who attends the royal court of a monarch. Okay, so yeah, I was right. So it's Lord Chamberlain and then courtier. Okay. So this is just like somebody who will be in the room with the king. And then Lord Chamberlain is like somebody that the king has in high regard and respects their opinion. Okay. I don't know why I needed to move my hand. Yeah, exactly, Punk. Exactly right. Okay, so Osric comes in. He's also a courtier. And he says, it could also be courtier. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it is courtier. But you know what? I think courtier sounds better. I'm going to just say, I think it sounds better. So I'm going to say courtier. I just looked at the phonetics of it and it's courtier. But it just doesn't sound so good. It sounds better if it has like if it has a French thing going on. Okay, so Osric says, your lordship is right. Welcome back to Denmark. Hamlet says, I humbly thank you, sir. Dost know this water fly? And Horatio says, no, my good lord. So Horatio doesn't know who Osric is. That's what he's saying. Because, I mean, Horatio, you have to keep in mind, Horatio stayed in, I'm pretty sure he stayed in Denmark with Hamlet. I think he visited Hamlet in England at some point. Not 100% on that. But, so, yeah. Thank you, Lorenzo. I think it sounds very classy A too. Hachuier. That's what I did. That was my French sneeze. Okay, so Osric is a courtier. Horatio says he doesn't know who this dude is. Hamlet's like, whatever. I'm fine. I'm glad you're happy to have me. And Hamlet says, thy state is the more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath much land and fertile. Let a beast be lord of beasts, and his crib shall stand at the king's mess. 'Tis a shuff, but, as I say, spacious in the possession of dirt. And Osric says, sweet lord, if your lordship were at leisure. Leisure? I like saying leisure more, I don't know why. Were at leisure, I should impart a thing to you from his majesty. And Hamlet says, I will receive it, sir, with a diligence of spirit. Put your bonnet to his right use. 'Tis for the head. Osric, I thank your lordship, it is very hot. Yeah, it is. It's a sexy bonnet. No, that's not what he means. And Hamlet says, no, believe me, 'tis very cold. The wind is northerly. Osric, it is indifferent cold, my lord, indeed. Hamlet, but yet methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion. Osric, exceedingly, my lord. It is very sultry as 'twere, I cannot tell how, but my lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he has laid a great wager on your head. Sir, this is the matter, and Hamlet interrupts him and says, I beseech you, remember. So Hamlet moves this man out of the way and then puts on the bonnet that the king gave him. I wonder if this bonnet is poisoned. What if it's a poisoned bonnet? What if it's going to make him a mad hatter? Except it wouldn't be a hatter, he'd be like a mad bonneter. I am a mad bonneter. Can you imagine like a man with like a baby bonnet on? I think that would be hilarious. Okay. And then Osric says, nay, good my lord, for mine ease and good faith. Sit here is... Sit. Here is newly come to court Laertes. Believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences, of very soft society and great showing. Indeed, to speak feelingly of him, he is the card or calendar of gentry. For you shall find in him the continent of what part a gentleman would see. A bonneter lizard. Okay. So Osric is just saying, hey, look, you're going to also see Laertes here, just so you know. Laertes, awesome, great dude. You're really going to like being in his company. True gentleman. Dope guy. And Hamlet says, sir, refinement suffers no perdition in you, though I know to divide him inventorially would dizzy the arithmetic of memory, and yet but yaw neither in respect of his quick sail, but in the verity of extolment. I take him to be a soul of great article, and his infusion of such dearth and rareness as to make his true diction of him his semblable to his monitor, or to his mirror. Sorry, there's like a big line that just the ink did not print properly. The AC is unplugged because I don't use AC. Also, it's April, so it's too cold for that. Okay, to make a true diction of him, his semblable is his mirror, and who else would trace him as umbrage? Nothing more. And Osric says, your lordship speaks most infallibly of him. So Hamlet's just like, bro, that's the improv section. I know, right, Punk? I know. So Hamlet's just like, what is it? Essentially, he's like, okay, I know who Laertes is, bro. Like, it's cool. It's whatever. I don't care. He's like, I know what kind of guy he is, but at the same time, I know what kind of guy he's going to be towards me because I know what I did to him, right? And Osric says, your lordship speaks most infallibly of him. And Hamlet says, the concernancy, lord, sir. Why do we wrap the gentleman in our more rawer breath? Osric, sir? Horatio, is it not possible to understand in another tongue? You will do it, sir, really. Hamlet, what imports the nomination of this gentleman? Osric, of Laertes? Horatio, his purse is empty already. All his golden words are spent. Hamlet, of him, sir. Osric, I know you are not ignorant. So, Hamlet's also a little bit upset. Hamlet and Horatio are a little bit upset because Laertes also has been appointed by, what is it called? He's been appointed by the king to be, like, next in line for the throne. Because the king doesn't have, what is it? He doesn't have a successor, right? He doesn't have any offspring with the queen. It's not stated that he has any children. Haha. Because he's impotent. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know why. But, he doesn't have any kids. So he's saying, okay, Laertes, you can succeed me at the throne. And, of course, Hamlet's upset about this, right? Because Hamlet was supposed to get it in the first place. And Horatio's also pissed because he's just like, bro, this dude is broke. Like, he literally has nothing to his name. Why is he qualified for this? So Hamlet says, I would you did, sir. Yet in faith if you did, it would not much approve me. Well, sir. And Osric says, you are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is. And Hamlet interrupts and says, I dare not confess that, lest I should compare with him in excellence, but to know a man well were to know himself. And Osric says, I mean, sir, for his weapon, but in the imputation laid on him by them in his meed. He is unfellowed. Hamlet, what's his weapon? Osric, rapier, or in the dagger. Hamlet, that's two of his weapons, but, well. Osric, the king, sir, hath wagered with him 6 Barbary horses against the which he has impawned, as I take it, 6 French rapiers. And poniards. I don't know what poniards are. Oh, they're daggers. For some reason, we had to bring ponies into this. Pony knives. With their assigns as girdle hanger and so. 3 of the carriages in faith are very fancy to fancy, very responsive to the hilts, most delicate carriages and a very liberal conceit. Hamlet, what call you the carriages? Horatio, I knew you must be edified in the margin ere you had done. Osric, the carriages, sir, are the hangers. Hamlet, the phrase would be more German to the matter, if we could carry a cannon by our sides. I would be hangers till then, but on. 6 Barbary horses against 6 French swords, there are signs, and 3 liberal conceited carriages, that's the French bet against the Danish. Why is this impound, as you call it? Spoilers to Jokos. I know, I already told everybody. Yeah, it is Othello next. So, because I was gonna do a Greek play next, but what is it? The books that I ordered. So I ordered books like 2 months ago for the stream. They never got delivered. And the book supplier was like, hey, sorry guys, never sent them to you. Also, here's a refund. And I was like, dude, why did you wait 2 months to tell me this? Because I was gonna do Greek plays. I was gonna do something like that as well. Yeah, I ordered a couple more Shakespeare plays. I ordered Greek plays, and then I ordered some personal books as well, because it's really hard to get those in Korea. And then also, I was gonna look into some more modern stuff as well, from like the 18 and the 1900s, but can't read those now, so it's okay. Cool. Okay. Anyway, so Osric and Hamlet are just talking about Laertes' fighting style, essentially. They're like, oh, what knives does he use? Pony knives. Okay, cool. He also has horses. Okay, cool. That's just Hamlet. He's just like, okay, awesome, great. And Osric says, the king, sir, hath laid, sir, that in a dozen passes between yourself and him, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He hath laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial, if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer. Hamlet. How if I answer no? Osric. I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial. Hamlet. Sir, I will walk here in the hall. If it please his majesty, it is the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought, the gentleman willing, and the king hold his purpose. I will win for him and I can. If not, I will gain nothing but my shame in the odd hits. So, Hamlet's just like, look, if the king really wants me to fight somebody, I'll fight somebody, okay? Deal. But you know what? If I win, I win. Great. And if I lose, you know what? I have shame. And guess what? I'm already covered in shame anyway, so it doesn't matter. I have literally nothing to lose. I really don't want to do this. I would rather talk it out, but I guess since we have to do this, whatever. And Osric says, shall I redeliver you even so? And Hamlet says, to this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature will. Osric, I commend my duty to your lordship. Hamlet, yours. So Osric says, to your lordship. And Hamlet says, no, it's not my lordship, it's your lordship. Okay? Get out of here. And so Osric exits. And Hamlet continues and says, he does well to commend it himself. There are no tongues else for his turn. Horatio. This lapwing runs away with the shell on his head. Hamlet. He did comply with his dug before he sucked it. Thus has he, and many more of the same breed that I know the drossy age dotes on, only got the tune of the time and outward habit of encounter, a kind of yesty collection which carries them through and through the most fanned and winnowed opinions. But do but blow them to their trial. The bubbles are out. Okay. So Horatio is just like, looks like another lapdog just ran out and went to go tell the king what you said. And Hamlet's like, oh, whatever. Let him do what he's gonna do. I don't really care. It looks like I'm gonna have to go through these stupid trials again. And I'm gonna have to really stand my ground now because honestly, I don't know, it's just annoying, right? Because he comes back, he tries to make amends, he's trying to be civil about it, right? And everyone's just like, no, I wanna be not civil. And I know Hamlet still has this upset feeling in himself, but I don't really think he wants to kill the king anymore. You know what I mean? I think part of him does, But I think he's also kind of grown out of it, right? Because he's had over a decade to reflect on it. And so it's kind of this idea that, well, no, Punk, I don't even think it's his past behaviors that ruined his reputation. I think it's, because, I mean, the king is the one who ruined his reputation, right? The king is the one who threw him out. He accused him of being nuts and crazy, right? And Hamlet didn't really do anything to say that, to make him accused of being crazy, right? He really only just, sure, he pulled the thing with the play, but otherwise he didn't really do anything that would justify anyone saying Hamlet is mad, right? He was grieving his father. He was playing it cool about this girl that he liked. He was like, I don't like you that much, but maybe it was more in a sense of like, oh, I don't like you, what are you talking about, right? Playing it cool, trying to pretend that he didn't like Ophelia as much as he actually did. I know he was actively plotting to kill the king, yes, of course, but at the same rate, you have to remember that the king expected this, right? Because when the king killed Hamlet Sr., the original king, you know that he knew that Hamlet was not going to be okay with it. Younger Hamlet. So it's just, it seemed like something that he just got over because more time went by and he became more mature, right? He became an adult and he was like, maybe this isn't something I want to do. Maybe I don't want to solve something with violence, you know? And I mean, he also, I like to think that maybe he thought about the words that his father had said to him in the first act, right? This ghost that was there, who was saying, you know, I spent so much time in battle and in war that I didn't ever get a focus on my own country. And I like the idea that maybe Hamlet's coming back and he's like, look, I want to do well by my country and I want to be able to contribute and do something where it benefits the people and I'm thinking about more than just myself, right? Because again, a lot of the time people think there's always more time and I can think about myself now and think about others later. But I think now he's starting to think about the consequences of his actions outside of himself. Okay, so a lord enters. And the lord says, my lord, to Hamlet. My lord, his majesty commended him to you by young Osric, who brings back to him that you attend him in the hall. He sends to know if your pleasure hold to play with Laertes, or that you will take longer time. Hamlet, I am constant to my purposes. They follow the king's pleasure. To his fitness speaks. Mine is ready, now or whensoever, provide I be so able as now. Lord, the king and queen and all are coming down. Hamlet, in happy time. Lord, the queen desires you to use some gentle entertainment to Laertes before you fall to play. Hamlet, she well instructs me. And then the lord exits. Okay. So, essentially, the queen just wants him to be civil, right? She's just like, please be civil with all of the people that are here. I want you to be nice to everyone. Please let it just be a nice, simple, regular interaction, my dear. Right? Because, I mean, if you think about what happened, I know most of you weren't here yesterday for the funeral, for Ophelia's funeral, but at Ophelia's funeral, I mean, you already had Laertes strangling Hamlet at the funeral, and people, he's just, like, trying to fend for his life at this funeral, right? And Horatio says, you will lose this wager, my lord. And Hamlet says, I do not think so. Since he went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. But thou wouldst not think how ill all's here about my heart. But it is no matter. Horatio says, nay, my good lord. So Hamlet's like, look, I'm not going to lose this battle, okay? I've been practicing. I've been constantly staying in shape. I've been, you know, I don't remember. It's not doing gains. I have gains. I am gains. Me is gains. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Gains, gains, gains. Hamlet is, But he's like, look, I've been practicing, bro. I got these muscles and I got these artillery skills, okay? I can do it. And Horatio's like, I don't know, bro. And Hamlet's like, it is but foolery. But it is such a kind of gain giving. Oh no, he said gain too. No. But it is such a kind of gain giving as would perhaps trouble a woman. Horatio, if you mind dislike anything, obey it. I shall forestall their repair hither and say you are not fit. Hamlet, not a whit. We defy augury. There is special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. I love this line. Let me just read it one more time. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man has aught of what he leaves, what is it to leave betimes? Let be. I know, he's just like, bam, 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 bam. Except they wouldn't call it a gun show. They probably call it like a rapier show. Bam, bam, pony show. No, that's a thing. Oh, I don't know if, I don't remember what that means though, so I shouldn't say that. Pony dagger show. Pony knife! Nay! Okay, I'm embarrassed. So, the king and the queen and Laertes and lords and Osric and other attendants with foils and gauntlets enter. And there's a table and flagons of wine on it. I know, look at those pony daggers. Bow, bow! And the king says, come, Hamlet, come and take this hand from me. Okay, so the king puts Laertes' hand into Hamlet. So they're like this right now. And it's like, pew! Right? They're doing the bro handshake. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what's happening. Hamlet says, right, this is XB's life. This is exactly what Girl with Experience feels like every day. The largest of pony daggers I have, okay? So Hamlet says, give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong, but pardon it as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with sore distraction. What I have done that might your nature honor and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Was it Hamlet wrong in Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be taken away, and what he's not himself does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it then? His madness. If it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts that I have shot mine arrow over the house and hurt my brother. So Hamlet's just like, look, I want to apologize for what happened to Polonius, because what happened was not me, it was the madness that I was in. Which, I mean, to be fair, kind of. I feel like it's kind of a cop-out because, to be honest, Hamlet was not mad. Let's be real. But I think there was a part of him that was in a state of rage, right? His eyes were just red. And so he killed Polonius because he was filled with rage. He's like, I'm filled with rage! And so he's like, I'm genuinely sorry. And I really did not want to do that. And it was not my intention to ever kill your father. I did not want to kill him. That was not anything I ever wanted to do. And Laertes says, I am satisfied in nature whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge. But in my terms of honor I stand aloof and will no reconcilement till by some elder masters of known honor I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungored. But till that time I do receive your offered like love, and will not wrong it. So Laertes is just like, look, I don't feel satisfied with that apology fully. And until I can actually come to peace with this, I will stand with your I guess I'll accept your apology, but I don't fully accept it. That's kind of what he's saying. He's like, I'm not processing it fully, but I accept it. And one day I'm sure I will fully be okay with it and I will understand you. But to be honest, it doesn't feel good to have a dead dad. And Hamlet's like, I embrace it freely. And will this brother's wager frankly play? Give us the foils, come on. So Hamlet's just like, okay, you know what? I get it. I totally get it. And I stand with you and I understand. So let's entertain these people. Let's have a good time. Let's play with our foils, aka some swords. And Laertes says, come, one for me. Hamlet, I'll be your foil, Laertes. In my ignorance your skills shall, like a star in the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed. And Laertes says, you mock me, sir. Hamlet, no, by this hand. King, give them the foils, young Osric. Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager? Hamlet, very well, my lord. Your grace has laid the odds the weaker side. King, I do not fear it. I have seen you both, but since he is better it, we have therefore odds. Laertes, it is too heavy. Let me see another. Hamlet, this likes me well. These foils have all a length. And then they prepare to play. So, right, I know, I don't forgive you. You want to play with swords? Let's go play with swords. So, I mean, I think it's just the idea of like a fencing match. They're going to do a playful fencing, whatever, right? They're not going to stab each other, but they're going to do it in a sense that's just entertainment for the royals and for the lords that are there. But I think this is where, if I were to guess, so the king had planned with Laertes that Laertes was to stab Hamlet with a poisoned sword. So I'm guessing this is where Laertes' poisoned sword is going to come from. Which makes me so upset because I genuinely like Hamlet. Even though he can be a bit whiny. Even though he's got flaws. I get it. I also understand Laertes, but I think Laertes is very hot-headed. And I think he is very naive. Especially considering his age. Because he's older than Hamlet. Because if you think about it, Ophelia was with Hamlet. So Laertes, well, okay, women can be younger than men whenever they date. But it seems that, especially in these kind of books. But it seems that Laertes was older because he was, think about it, he was on a voyage by himself. So he must have been at least in his 20s whenever that was happening. And Hamlet was a teenager when he was sent away. So it's a little bit disappointing because Laertes is so much older than him, and yet it just feels as though he's emotionally and mentally just so much less mature. Okay, so Osric says, "Aye, my good lord." And the king says, "Set me the stoups of wine upon that table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, or quit in answer of the third exchange, let all the battlements of their ordnance fire. The king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath, and in the cup of union shall he throw, richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Give me the cups, and let the kettle to the trumpet speak, the trumpet to the cannoneer without, the cannons to the heavens, the heaven to earth. Now the king drinks to Hamlet. Come, begin anew, the judges bear a wary eye." So the king is just like, look, if Hamlet wins, I will drink to Hamlet. If he doesn't, whatever, it's cool. But like, if he gets the first or second jab in and whatever, I will drink to him. It's essentially, he's just saying, okay, whatever. I'll congratulate him. And Hamlet says, "Come on, sir." And Laertes says, "Come, my lord." Okay, and then they sword fight. Okay, this is the closest thing I have to swords right now. I have a candlestick and I have a marker. Oh, wait, no, I have a fork. This is dope. It's still in plastic wrap, though. And they're like, pew, 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 pew. Okay. Upside down. And then, wait. Right. Yes. And then Hamlet says, "One!" And Laertes says, "No!" Hamlet, "Judgment!" And Osric says, "A hit, a very palpable hit." Laertes, "Well, again!" And the king says, "Stay, give me drink." Hamlet, "This pearl is thine, here's to thy health." Okay. I know, aren't they getting so much better, Lorenzo? These fight scenes are just so good. Okay. And then the trumpets sound, bah, 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 and then a cannon is shot off within. Give him the cup! Oh, okay, so the king is like, here, give him a cup so that he can celebrate with me. And Hamlet says, I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while. Come. And then they play again. And they're like, ching, 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 burr. Okay, this is going to be Hamlet's sword. And then Hamlet says, another hit, what say you? And Laertes says, a touch, I do confess. And the king says, our son shall win. Hamlet, he's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin, rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune. Carouses? To thy fortune, Hamlet. And Hamlet says, good madam. King, Gertrude, do not drink. Queen, I will, my lord, I pray you, pardon me. And the king says to the side, it is the poisoned cup. It is too late. Is the queen gonna get poisoned? Oh my god. And Hamlet says, I do not dare drink yet, madam, by and by. And the queen says, come, let me wipe thy face. And Laertes says, my lord, I'll hit him now. The king says, I do not think it. And Laertes says to the side, and yet it is almost against my conscience. So Laertes is like, I almost kind of feel bad. He feels bad for Hamlet a little bit because Hamlet came and he had like this really grand apology and all of this stuff. And Hamlet says, come for the third, Laertes, you but dally. I pray you pass with your best violence. I am afeard you make a wanton of me. Laertes says, say you so? Come on. And then they play again. Ching, 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 bing, bing, bing. Okay, and they're fighting. And then there's dialogue. Okay. And Osric says nothing, neither way, and Laertes, have at you now! And then Laertes wounds Hamlet. Then in scuffling, they change rapier. And Hamlet wounds Laertes. And King says, part them, they are incensed. Hamlet, nay, come again? And the queen falls. Bro! The king literally had one job. He had to poison one person, and he couldn't do it. He poisoned his freaking wife. And Osric says, look, to the queen there, ho! And Horatio says, they bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord? And Osric says, how is it, Laertes? And Laertes says, why, as a woodcock to mine own springe, Osric. I am justly killed with mine own treachery. And Hamlet says, how does the queen? And the king says, she swoons to see them bleed. And the queen says, no, no, the drink, the drink. Oh, my dear Hamlet, the drink, the drink. I am poisoned. And then she dies. I'm so upset. I'm so angry. Ah! So all of the women in this play have died. Awesome. F's in the chat. Literally. Ugh. And Hamlet says, oh, villainy, ho, let the door be locked. Treachery, seek it out. And then Osric leaves and Laertes falls. Oh my god. Okay, so hold up. I didn't even think about this. Okay, so before they even started playing, Hamlet and Laertes were like weighing their swords and whatever, and Laertes grabbed the poisoned rapier, right? And he was like, ah, man, this is so heavy. And Hamlet's like, ah, nah, I got it, bro. This one's not too heavy for me. How about you use mine? And he's like, ah, yeah, dope. Okay, whatever. And then Hamlet won so many goddamn times that Laertes got pierced by his own sword and then got poisoned. Oh my god. And Laertes says, it is here, Hamlet. Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee there is not half an hour of life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unabated and envenomed. The Foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned, I can no more. The king's to blame. And Hamlet says, the point envenomed too? Then venom to thy work. And then he stabs the king! Oh my god! What? This is ridiculous. And then everybody that's there says, treason! Treason! The king says, oh, yet defend me, friends. I am but hurt. And then Hamlet says, here, thou incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, drink off this potion. Is thy union here? Follow my mother. And then the king dies. What the fuck? That's crazy! That's absolutely nuts. And Laertes says, he is justly serves. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me. And then he dies. I think is Hamlet also gonna die? Because did he get, I don't understand if he got poisoned as well. Maybe. It's possible. So Laertes is like, look, I don't see my death as your fault. Don't worry about it, man. Like, I get it. I don't see you at fault either for my father's death. I want you to know that I forgive you, okay? Hamlet says, heaven make thee free to it. I follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but mutes or audience to this act, had I but time, as this fell sergeant, death, is strict in his arrest. Oh, I could tell you, but let it be, Horatio, I am dead, thou livest. Report me and my cause aright to the unsatisfied. Okay, so Hamlet is gonna die. So he also got cut with the thing, the sword, with the poison sword. Everyone's just dying. Okay, Horatio. Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left. And Hamlet says, as thou art a man, give me the cup. Let go. By heaven, I'll have it. O God, Horatio, what a wounded name. Things standing thus unknown shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. And then they march afar off, and it's shot within. I don't know what? Okay. And then Osric comes in, and Hamlet says, what warlike noise is this? Oh, there's marching that you can hear, like, in the background. I got it. I know! Yeah, the sword is literally killing... Right, it killed two. The poison's the one doing all the legwork here, let's be honest. Poison on the sword, poison in the cup. Poison kills 1, 2, 3, 4 people. 4 people. We got the queen, the king, Hamlet, and Laertes. So, I don't have to guess. Essentially, Hamlet is saying, hey, Horatio, I'm a dead man. Thank you for being a friend. Anyway, and Horatio's like, hey, you want something to drink? Can you imagine Horatio just being like, hey, you want this poison to just like speed it up? No, he didn't offer him that. He just offered him liquor. And Hamlet's like, nah, man, you know what? Give me the cup that has poison in it. I'll just finish it off and just die. And then Osric comes in, and Osric says, young Fortinbras, with conquest come from Poland to the ambassadors of England, gives this warlike volley. So, Fortinbras is like crawling in to Denmark, and he's ready to just like take over. As Hamlet's dying and tell Horatio, he's like, remember me, tell everyone my story. And Hamlet says, oh, I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite overcrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England. But I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him with the occurrence more and less which have solicited. The rest is silence. And then he dies. And Horatio says, now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince. And flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Why does the drum come hither? And then they march within. So enter Fortinbras and the English ambassadors with drum, colours, and attendants. I'm trying to imagine like a color guard with them, like twirling flags, and they're just like, pew, pew, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And like, what is it? In spandex. And Fortinbras says, where is this sight? Horatio, what is it you would see, if aught of woe and wonder cease your search? Fortinbras, this quarry cries of havoc. O proud death, what feast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot so bloodily hast struck? Fortinbras is like, what the heck happened here? What did I miss? He's like, I always miss the drama. And the first ambassador says, the sight is dismal, and our affairs from England come too late. The ears are senseless that should give us hearing to tell him his commandment is fulfilled. That Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Where should we have our thanks? Man, even Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead now? Really? And Horatio says, not from his mouth had it the ability of life to thank you. He never gave commandment to their death, but since so jump upon this bloody question, you are from the Polack wars. And you from England are here arrived. Give order that these bodies high on a stage be placed to the view. And let me speak to the yet unknowing world how these things came about. So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts of accidental judgments, casual slaughters of deaths put on by cunning enforced cause, and in this upshot purposes mistook fallen on the inventors' heads. All this can I truly deliver. So Horatio's like, I'll give you a breakdown if that's what you really need. Okay? Just sit down. Just don't drink from that cup, okay? It's got poison in it. Fortinbras is like, let us haste to hear it and call the noblest to the audience. For me, with sorrow I embrace my fortune. I have some rights of memory in this kingdom, which now to claim my vantage doth invite me. Horatio, yeah, don't touch anything. Just sit down. And don't drink anything, don't touch anything, don't put anything in your mouth. Just sit with your hands up. And Horatio says, of that I shall have also cause to speak, and from his mouth, whose voice will draw on more. But let the same be presently performed, even while men's minds are wild, lest more mischance on plots and errors happen. Fortinbras, let 4 captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage, for he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royal, and for his passage the soldiers' music and the rites of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies. Such a sight as this becomes the field, and here shows much amiss. Go. Bid the soldiers shoot. And then there's a dead march, and they exunt, bearing off the bodies, after which a peal of ordnance is shot off. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. That was absolutely nuts. Wow. That was great. That was not what I was expecting for an ending. Yeah, we did it to Jokos. Well, so the thing that's interesting, and I know this is a weird parallel to draw. Not really. So I watched, what was it? I watched Parasite recently. It was the first time I ever watched it. It's a South Korean film. It like won a bunch of Oscars. And everyone was telling me all the time, they were just like, oh, you have to watch Parasite. It's so good. Oh, how have you not seen Parasite? You literally live in Korea. And I'm like, okay. So I watched it. I watched it for the first time maybe a week or two ago. If you haven't watched it, I'm going to spoil it. So cover your ears now if you don't want me to spoil it for you. But at the end of the film, again, spoiler alert, cover your ears if you don't want to hear it. Cover your ears or mute me to Jokos if you don't want to hear it. I will wave my hand at you whenever I'm done spoiling. What happens at the end is, yeah, I will. Um, everybody dies at the end of Parasite. And I was so shocked. So it's kind of the same thing where it's just, I'm completely shocked by the ending and the intensity and the amount of drama that happens at the end of this play. Um, so, yeah, great. It was great. It's so tragic. I mean, I get that it's a tragedy, of course, but it's. Nobody wins! Nobody wins in this play! Literally, nobody gets the cathartic ending that they want. Ah, that sucks! But at the same time, it's very realistic, right? You have this idea of, maybe not everything goes the way it's supposed to go. So, yeah. Well, thanks for coming. Thank you for coming to stream. I loved this. Our next play is going to be Othello. We got another chonker. This guy is huge. Let's see, how long is it? So I haven't read Othello. I've seen Othello. I had to study it a little bit in high school. I don't remember it too thoroughly. Let's see, how long is this one? Oh, it's only about 100 pages. It's just got a whole bunch of forward and backward going on. So, whatever. So, yeah. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here. If you had a great time, feel free to come back again. I will not be here on Monday because I have a voice lesson, which is going to be exciting. So I will be here on Tuesday. I will maybe be here on Sunday. I don't think so though, because I'm going to a very far away place on Sunday. So probably not. I need to take that off of my stream calendar because I have not streamed on a Sunday since I moved here. So I need to figure it out. I need to see what's going on with scheduling and stuff. I'm still kind of getting settled here. I've only been here for about a month, so it's not Tokyo JoJo's. I'm just going maybe like an hour and a half away, but still. So we will see. Either I will stream on Sunday or I'll stream it on Tuesday. It'll most likely be Tuesday. I know, RIP Sunday Song Day. But thanks for coming. If you enjoyed the stream, feel free to follow. If not, don't worry about it. And yeah, I'll see you very soon. Have a good day, or a good afternoon, or a good evening, and have a good night. I'll see you next time. Bye.